Hello, welcome to the very first official episode of Respawn Radio with your host, Paul
and Raphi.
Yeah.
I know you're leading me in there.
A little bit of a delay there.
A little bit of a delay.
We just got finished watching Iron Man 2008.
Not for the first time. We have seen it before.
Yeah, just to catch up, because obviously we're doing a show about it today. So what did you think?
I mean, it's the first Iron Man.
Yeah.
It's the first of the Marvel.
I don't know if you know much about the sort of the making of this film, like behind the scenes, like what went on. And this film was in development hell for like 17 years. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah. They originally started it in like 1990 and it was just going from studio to studio. It was fucking mental. I didn't even know this until today, but the guy who plays as Happy Hogan is the director.
Yeah. Did you not know that?
No, I didn't know that. I feel like such a complete idiot.
I thought that was like common knowledge.
Yeah, it probably was, but I
mean, he didn't do the other two. Other people did that.
Yeah, I imagine so.
Probably why the other two aren't as good. But yeah, no, he directed it.
It's a self-financed movie. When they say self-financed, I mean they probably had, backers. But you notice there's not much in terms of like product placement and stuff like that in it, really, at all.
Mostly Audi with his cars. I think.
Oh, that's a good point. Actually, I didn't even think about cars.
Yeah,
that was a
cars and laptops, to be fair. But
yeah. And phones, like that bit at the beginning where he's in the desert and he's got that LG flip phone, which somehow in 2008, filmed in 2007, has video technology. Just wouldn't have happened.
I mean, Iron Man.
Yeah, he's Iron Man.
He is Iron. Did you know he's Iron Man?
I knew he's Iron Man because of the bit at the end where he said, "I am Iron Man."
Yeah, I was really, really surprised at that he was in fact Iron Man.
Just as we were getting to the end of watching it, Raph will do everything he can to make me laugh, like to stop me from, I'm here trying to make notes and stuff, and he's going, "I am Iron Man," like during a whole speech.
I'm just saying, like, "I am Iron Man. My name is Tony Iron Man. I am Mr. Iron Man. I am Tony Man.
I am Tony Man.
I am Tiny Man.
I am Iron Stark." Okay.
Winter is coming, for I am Iron Stark. That is such a Game of Thrones name right there, Iron Stark.
That does sound like a Game of Thrones name, actually.
Isn't one of the characters like the Ironborn or Dragonborn?
I think you're getting all your Lord of the Rings universes mixed up. Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones,
Skyrim,
The Witcher, all of that. What is it?
Every media
Iron Man, same universe.
Same shit, different day.
So the film starts straight away.
Almost as if you press play on it. Like pretty much as soon as it starts, that's it.
It's such a sarky. Right. The film begins immediately with death
and destruction.
Yeah.
Havoc.
Yeah. I mentioned earlier, I was watching it, and you said, "Save your jokes for the podcast." But I said, "I haven't seen this much death in the beginning of a Disney film since Bambi." Yeah. It doesn't really.
It doesn't work unless it doesn't work unless you're there. I mean, you did try, which is fair enough.
No, okay.
But no, it's quite surprising. Like, you're right though. No other Marvel film starts off and like bam, you're right in the middle of the action.
Yeah.
There's usually,
well, except from a lot of the newer ones, I guess.
Can't think of any.
Civil War starts off in the middle of a thing with crossbones, doesn't it?
Yeah, I guess, but
I know what you mean though. I mean, straight away,
as an introduction to
a universe.
Yeah, we'll think that's the first of the whole Marvel Disney, even though Disney didn't have anything to do with this one yet.
Yeah. Disney bought the rights to Marvel the following year, 2009.
Was it during production?
It was so basically what happened was they arranged, the first films all the way up to the Avengers. So all the way up to the Avengers, technically that wasn't Disney, even though, by the second by the Hulk, which came out in 2008 as well. No. So no, that would have been Iron Man 2. So by Iron Man 2, it was already owned by Disney. But all the films up to Avengers, and including Avengers, was all made without Disney's input.
Which is weird, because everything before the Avengers, a lot of the films didn't work. Apart from Iron Man, none of them were good.
Yeah, I mean, we'll get onto those other ones.
Yeah,
I've got so much to say, but like...
Still, after watching it, because I've seen Iron Man loads of times anyway.
And it's been a couple of years since you've seen it.
It has been a couple of years, but I mean, it wasn't like this the first or second time I've seen it. I have seen it quite a lot.
So what did you think this time? What was different?
It's aged remarkably well, considering it is 10 years old. 2008, we're in 2018. It is, I mean, it still holds up in terms of its CGI.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that I mentioned. I thought, it does look very real in terms of the suit, and how much of the suit was actually CGI is ridiculous. You know how much, if you look at the behind the scenes, how much of Tony Stark, like Robert Downey Jr. just actually wearing like half, like just the torso upwards and stuff, and the rest of it's all CGI.
Yeah, well later on it's all CGI. Like
Yeah.
It's like the part with the he's getting his hand like in his chest.
Yeah, that's
and
it. Yeah.
Like an alien's about to jump out of him. Mm-hmm. He had like a rubber stomach. Like he's basically standing or kneeling, I guess, on the body. So when Peppa Pig put her hand in
Pepper Potts,
the
ginger secretary or whatever.
Yeah. It was a physical like rubber body that she put her hand
prosthetic,
in.
Yeah.
Because you can kind of tell because
the way he's leaning,
like his upper body doesn't quite match where his pectoral muscles are. And her hand goes so deep into that hole. Like,
it does, doesn't it? It goes disturbingly deep. You would have thought she'd be touching his spine.
I know. I mean, the hole itself, it looks really, really. It's further than where his heart would be.
Yeah.
Like
it doesn't go into his heart, does it? It just, where does it clip into exactly? What the hell is it? It's a giant electromagnet.
Yeah, it's just meant to be a magnet that's just meant to extract like the shrapnel that's in its body.
Right. So let's. If anyone, I don't understand why you'd be watching this if you haven't seen Iron Man, but right at the beginning of the film, and we've already probably gone into spoilers, but all of our episodes of this podcast are going to have spoilers in because we're just.
If you haven't seen Iron Man, it's been 10 years.
Yeah, and
like,
it's been 10 years.
If this is spoiled, I'm not sorry.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
like,
so
it's your fault.
It is. It's all your fault. No, basically, at the beginning of the film, he's involved in an explosion and gets a piece of shrapnel lodged in his chest, which is on his way to his heart. The guy who saves him builds an electromagnet in his chest to stop it from going in, and then he replaces that with a thing that helps to power the Iron Man suit.
Yeah, the small reactor thing.
And that doesn't go to his heart, though, does it? It just goes in the chest and goes.
Well, literally, all it is, just like I said, it's just a magnet. It could actually go anywhere on his body.
Yeah.
I don't know why it's on his chest. You'd have to read the comics.
Well, probably because it was originally there.
Oh, yeah, as in like.
Also, it looks cool.
It does look cool. I mean, surely if it's a massive magnet, would it not just rip out the shrapnel anyway? Like.
Well, it's not supposed to pull the shrapnel out. It's supposed to just keep it from travelling to the heart. It's supposed to keep it in place.
Oh,
yeah. They mentioned that more in the second one, but the one of the things I noticed first of all was the weird sort of I don't want to say plot hole because it's not really a plot hole. It's probably, like I said before, it's just because it was most likely a product placement. But the phone in the desert really threw me because in 10 years phone technology has changed so much.
Yeah.
And there's even a joke when he's in the van with the soldiers. And they take a selfie together, and he goes, "I don't want to see this on your MySpace page."
Yeah, cool. Like pop culture references that just did
not age
like,
well.
I love those jokes. I love it when somebody says MySpace or whatever. Like even.
If you think about it, it's like this is. We'll talk about this when we get to the film. But in Black Panther, there's a meme reference. I'm not going to say which one it is, but think how horribly that's going to age in 10 years. And that was just a reference to a social media network. That was an actual joke about a meme.
I know. I mean, to be fair, like, it is such a small part in the film, and it was barely distracting. And like, if that's the worst thing in the film, then that's not a bad thing at all. Because I mean, I love Iron Man. I love the first one. Soundtrack on it's just amazing.
It does have a really good soundtrack, and I think you mentioned before that a lot of the soundtracks in Marvel films are just not memorable in the slightest.
I mean, I can't think of a single.
Yeah, what's the Thor theme?
My name is Thor. I ever
Thor woman.
Gonna Thor them all. Thor's hammer.
No, it does have a good soundtrack, and there's actually tunes I know the name of and soundtracks that I'll listen to just because it's like a good orchestra rock riff. It's like the one where he first puts on the Iron Man suit and tries it, like after when he first builds it in his actual
garage.
Not the one in the cave.
No, in his fully forward powered, like full spec'd out cars everywhere, like a boy's wet dream. Like just I love this film. You know what I love it. It's just a cool film. Like everything about this film is just cool.
It's mainly because of Robert Downey Jr. because he's just got so much charisma.
No, not just that. Like all the cars that are there, it's basically the definition of what a lad film is. Just explosions everywhere. It's like a Michael Bay film if Michael Bay knew how to direct. And he wasn't shit.
Yeah. You know what the amazing thing about it is? I haven't looked it up, but I imagine the budget for it's quite big because I know the Iron Man suit that they built alone was millions.
If it's self-financed, it wouldn't be.
It's self-financed, but you think about a self-financed Iron Man film. No wonder why it took so long to fucking get done.
Well, it's kind of like Deadpool with Ryan Reynolds. He tried for years to get that.
Well, technically, he's backed by Fox, so I mean,
now he is.
Yeah.
Originally, like, he had to beg Fox to make Deadpool, and then he got stuck in X-Men, like,
that really
Origins.
shit X-Men Origins.
Yeah, where they sew up his mouth for some stupid reason. So yeah, it is a bit like that. I mean, I'll always enjoy watching it.
Yeah.
It's probably, like I said, it's top tier Marvel.
It's got really good performances in it. Mm-hmm. I think one of the things that suffers with characters and actors and love interests and things like that is that there's no chemistry. Again, not going to mention which one, but in later Marvel films, there's love interests that we're told these characters, have a connection. You just don't feel it, and that you just straight away the first scene with Gwyneth Paltrow and Pepper Potts.
Yeah, they have good.
And they fire off of each other, and their body language. They
click quite well. I mean, again, Robert Downey Jr. basically playing himself.
Yeah, that's I was looking that up as well. Actually, he was cast specifically because he's had a troubled past.
Because he took a load of drugs and was an alcoholic.
And a lot of his ups and downs have been in the public eye.
Because it's exactly what Tony Stark was like in the comics. He was an alcoholic, he got better, and then he got worse, and then it was basically just...
And he's really arrogant and charismatic. Yeah. So basically, Robert Downey Jr. is Tony Stark.
Essentially, yeah. I mean, it's basically he was born to play this role because his entire life has been leading up to play this role.
Yeah.
Accidentally.
And it's so weird. Like, I know it's been 10 years, and obviously people age in 10 years, but he looks so much younger in this one compared to the Infinity War.
He really does. I mean, I don't know if he's had any work done to his face, because later on he does start to look a little bit plastic.
You reckon? I'd say I don't see it, but...
It's, when you see someone who doesn't have a single ring, like Sylvester Stallone.
Yeah, you can tell he's had a fuck ton of Botox.
It's a bit like that. Like, I'm not saying he actually has. Maybe he's just aged really well, but it kind of looks slightly unnatural. But it could just be the makeup on screen.
Not a Renee Zellweger.
Not a Renee Zellweger.
So
fucked up her face.
So basically, I made a couple of notes, and I made notes of things that either stood out to me in the movie that I wanted to question with you, or didn't fucking make sense. So he gets kidnapped by terrorists, right, in a film, because, spoiler alert, this guy who worked with him called Obadiah, is it Shane? Obadiah, anyway, the big bald guy played by
Jeff Bridges.
Jeff Bridges, the fella from Tron. That's the only film I know from.
Have you not seen The Big Lebowski?
I haven't, and I know. Well, we can talk about it at some point, but yeah, he's the one who goes, well, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah, that's the one, yeah.
He basically stitches Tony Stark up, and he's got a chip on his shoulder and owns some shares of the company and wants to kill him off so that he can own it. So when Tony goes out into the middle of a desert to do a weapons test, the terrorists kidnap him and then force him to build a missile. But the twist is they're like, well, we didn't realize, Obadiah, that this was Tony Stark. You got to give us more money for him now. So they tried to get him to build a missile, a really shit hot missile, which is the one that splits off into loads of little ones and blows up, the one he did a demonstration from. That's what they wanted him to build. I didn't actually realise that until... It's a good thing. It's a good thing. I wanted to watch this movie again for this specific reason.
How did you not realise that? They flat out said, we want you to build this missile.
Yeah, but I couldn't remember the name of it. The Jericho missile, that's what it's called. But I couldn't remember the exact name of it. I just thought they were wanting to build a big old nuke or something. It's just some generic...
just a big old
Just a big old nuke. So he builds the suit, obviously. Yep. Now, our question was, how long was he in his cave? And they do answer that when he finally escapes. He was there for 3 months building that suit. Now, how in 3 months did they not catch him?
This is what I don't get. So it establishes that there's cameras in the room.
Yeah.
And Tony is established to be some sort of genius in the film because they point it out every scene he's in that he's unbelievably smart. So he must have realised that they'd probably be keeping tracks on him. I don't understand how he got away building an entire suit. Because there's a scene in it where you can see him through the cameras, so some guys are looking at him, basically moving the leg with his leg. And I'm just like, they must know you're not building the Jericho.
Well, there's one bit where the main terrorist guy goes in, and he's like, he's going to kill his assistant. And Tony's like, no, I need him. And that's because he's just basically like, I don't know what you're doing, you're fucking around, you're not building a missile. So I'm going to kill him. And he goes, no, I need him. And he goes, right, well, you've got, not much time left. Build my fucking missile. So they do that. And obviously shortly afterwards, he finishes the suit and gets out of there. But it's 3 months. And there's one scene where the guys who are keeping an eye on him, I guess, they sort of peek in, they see he's doing some work and they close it. And that's like, the only thing I can think of is gross incompetence on the terrorist part. Letting it go unnoticed.
Shit, to be fair.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no way he wasn't caught. I mean, okay, I kind of understood, like, him building, like, the arc reactor for his little,
To keep him going a bit more.
keep him going.
Yeah.
Because that you can say, you can turn around and go, well, if I didn't build this, I would have died, so you wouldn't get your missile.
Yeah.
Like, that's, like, fine. The other thing I don't get, and I've just thought of this now. So they kidnapped Tony Stark under Obadiah's... Is it Obadiah's?
Obadiah, yeah.
Obadiah. Under Obadiah's instructions.
Yeah.
And he wanted them to kill him so he could take, the full share of the company.
Exactly. He basically said, you kill him, you can keep the weapons, and then I get to take over the company. That was the original deal.
So when they said, we want more money, what sort of leg do they have to stand on? Because they already have Tony Stark, and it's not like they're ever going to let
I guess
him
they
go.
could publicise it and say, Obadiah, the guy who owns a massive, has a massive stake in Stark Industries, asked us to murder the son of the founder, I guess. That was about it.
Yeah, but then you can just start asking for an infinite amount of money at that point. Like,
$1 million. Yeah, they could have done, but I don't know. It was weird. And you know what I did like? Something they probably couldn't get away with these days. Now, I mean, they could, but there'll be a lot of people pissing and moaning.
Yeah.
No. I was going to say the terrorism angle. There's a lot of people who'll be like, oh, wait, the bad guys always have to be Middle Eastern.
You know what's weird?
This is racist. But...
that happened in Iron Man 3.
Oh, yeah, because it was...
massive controversy with the fact
2013, so it was edging on sort of the social justice sort of just coming into its early stages.
I don't know. Well, we've been on that sort of thing since, like, 2001.
What, social justice or terrorism?
Like the whole you can't do terrorism thing. Like,
I don't think so. I think people really were pissed off at Al-Qaeda after 9/11.
That's what I mean. So
people didn't care about it for a while, but people didn't get sensitive on Muslim side of things until about 2014.
Yeah, but you've got Iron Man 1. Like,
yeah.
It is literally all about terrorists, and I didn't realise this until I actually watched it, but they're called, like, the 10 Rings or Ring of 10. It's basically at this point it's a reference, but it's a reference to the Mandarin, the I'm going to say in this quotation marks, you can't see me, villain of the third film.
The third Iron Man. So the Mandarin is a prominent villain from Iron Man in the comics.
Yeah, he's got 10 magic rings. Mm-hmm. They each do something different, like control time and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Very, very much like...
And that was the name of a terrorist group in Iron Man 1.
Yeah.
Right, okay. So I didn't catch that.
So when he came out in Iron Man 3 and it was like, I'm the Mandarin, I was like, okay, so it connects back to Iron Man 1 and they're actually working for him. And I was like, this is really cool.
But there's no connection, is there?
There's no connection because of what happens in Iron Man 3, which we'll go over another time.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah, I know. So that was actually a reference to Iron Man 1. And I know there's another reference to the Mandarin in Iron Man 2, but I can't remember where it is, so I'd have to rewatch that to figure that one out.
We'll rewatch all of them. We won't be too soon. We've got the Hulk and then it's straight to Iron Man 2, so it won't be too far away.
Does the Avenger not come out? No.
So it's actually because we talked about this in the pilot, but it's honestly Iron Man 1, Hulk, Iron Man 2, Thor, Captain America, First Avenger, and then the Avengers.
Right. Okay. Fair enough.
So it's quite a good way to order it actually, because the last thing that happens in Captain America kind of leads directly into Avengers anyway.
Yeah, well, he wakes up and they're all ready to go.
Yeah, exactly. So what I was going to mention before, but I think I got a bit sidetracked. The motivation for the 10 Rings, the main fella, is even though they're Middle Eastern and they're obviously Muslim from what I assume from their garments that they're wearing, they're not religiously motivated. The reason they want to take over the world is because of the main guy is obsessed with historic conquest. Like he talked about Genghis Khan had the biggest weapons back in the day, and the people who have the biggest weapons, Tony Stark weapons these days, rule the world, and now it's my turn. So he just wants to rule the world for the fuck of it, basically.
I mean, to be fair, the whole motivations are kind of like, they're always afterthoughts when it comes to these sort of films. It doesn't really matter why they're trying to take over the world. They just need to establish that these are the bad guys, they have a goal, and then the rest of it is Iron Man and flying about with Iron Man.
With Ironmonger.
Yeah, Ironmonger.
What a great name for a villain.
The Ironmongerloid.
Well, you know what? I noticed that
Ironmongerloid.
When he gets back to America and he's talking to Obadiah in the room with the giant arc reactor.
Yeah.
He actually says the line, and I don't know whether it was just a little Easter egg, but he goes, "Tony, we're weapon manufacturers, we're ironmongers." He actually says that. Yeah. So that's they never call him, "Oh, it's Ironmonger." But it's kind of like,
no, it's clearly a reference. I mean, you script write and you think about every single thing you're going to write. It's obviously a reference, to be fair.
Yeah, well, I wonder, do you think they knew where they were going when they did this? I think that when they did Iron Man 1, they had an idea of where they wanted it to go. I think they knew they wanted to do a Thor film, and they wanted to do the Avengers, because at the end, the after credit scene on this film, Nick Fury's there. And he goes, you think you're the only superhero in the world? Well, let me tell you about the Avengers Initiative.
Well, funny thing about that is when they were filming Iron Man, Samuel L. Jackson just happened to be on set and was just talking while the cameras were on him. And he was just drunk and just making up shit.
That's not true.
And then they just rolled with it. He came up dressed as a pirate, wearing a long trench coat. And it was just like, Tony, and starting the Avengers. And
why is he Australian?
He just is, mate. Did you not know Samuel L. Jackson's Australian?
No, he isn't.
He is.
No, he isn't.
No, he was born in Sydney.
He's born in Sydney.
Yeah.
Grew up in America.
Grew up in Sydney.
Right. I am famously the most gullible twat on the planet, and this is a bit where Raph tries to get me to believe anything.
No, he was born and raised in Sydney. He's Australian.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, well, you know what? I'm going to say this now and do my research later. If he is Australian, I've never heard him do the accent.
Well, he is. He's Australian as Hugh Jackman is American.
Speaking of Australians who always play as Americans, Mel Gibson.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I watched Mad Max.
That's why he was in Mad Max.
Yeah, because that's set in post-apocalyptic America. So,
he's not Australian, by the way. It's Samuel L. Jackson. He's the most American person on the planet.
Did you know the script for this film wasn't finished when they started it? A lot of it is ad-libbed.
A lot of films are ad-libbed these days.
But this film in particular, I don't reckon they'll take that risk with newer Marvel films. I don't reckon they'll do it because it's just not financially viable. Like, it wouldn't be a safe option for them to just let it be ad-libbed now.
But I don't think it's been ad-libbed ever since Disney got a hold of it. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. All of the Marvel films at this point that are done by Disney are pure Disney films. Like, I don't think the directors have any sort of
That's not true, man. Like, do you not remember what happened in Civil War? That was a fucking torture scene in that. Guy hanging upside down, drowning. See, that's what I was thinking while I was watching this. I was thinking, he's being tortured straight away at the beginning of the film. Fucking bullet holes, all these soldiers getting shot in the head. There's not loads of blood, but they're getting killed with guns. You don't really see that in Disney films. Then again, you think about Pirates of the Caribbean, there's quite a lot of stabs in that.
There's a lot of stabs and a lot of bullet holes. In fact, there's an entire dead army. Kind of throws your theory out the window a bit.
Fuck you.
In fact, didn't Bambi's mum die via bullet hole?
Yeah, but that was years ago.
Yeah, and that was Disney in its prime of lack of bullet holes.
That's true. That's true. The very first Disney film, a little girl.
King.
Oh, yeah.
It wasn't a bullet hole, but it was a stampede, and some could say that's worse.
And the very first Disney film, Snow White, little girl, choked to death on a chunk of apple, which was...
Pretty much every Disney film ever, somebody dies.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't think it's not taboo to talk about death. Death's a part of life. I think it's the motive behind it, you don't see child murderers and child rapists committing these killings. It's usually people who just want to take over the world in a generic way.
But take solace in the fact that if these films were real, there would be child murderers and paedophiles.
Oh yeah,
well, all of them.
We know that. Have you ever seen Torchwood, where it shows the darker side of the Doctor Who universe? Where there's literally,
no, but I have heard of it.
And there's literally cannibals in that and stuff like that, and you just don't think about that sort of thing. But yeah, imagine. Well, I say you talk about the dark side of a Marvel universe. Just look at Logan. But technically, it's not canon in the same universe.
Fox. It's not canon at all. It was basically a what if storyline.
Yeah. But now, I think didn't Disney buy Fox?
Disney have bought Fox, so they now own the rights to X-Men and
Fantastic Four and Deadpool.
Basically, they've pretty much, apart from
they've monopolized. Apart from the Incredible Hulk,
which is still owned by Universal, and technically most of the Spider-Man
by Sony, yeah. At least they've come to an agreement. They realised that after 5 fucking solo Spider-Man films, they couldn't make a successful one.
I mean, Spider-Man 1 and 2...
they were good.
They were really, really good. They were some of the best superhero films you can get.
What about Spider-Man 3? You love that one, don't you?
That's
you love emo Peter Parker.
I love a little bit of emo Peter Parker dancing down the street to Saturday Night, fever.
Oh, Christ. What the fuck they think? It's Sam Raimi, what are you doing?
I love the fact that they had to show he was evil, so he kind of brushed his hair to one side.
Yep. And he knocked a woman over. You're like, you don't do that. You knocked a lady.
That's a bad Spider-Man.
So Tony Stark has a system called Jarvis, right? From what I found out is that Jarvis in the original Iron Man comics was a butler who was nicknamed Jeeves and stuff like that. But that's where they got the Ask Jeeves thing from. But Jarvis, in about 1990, in the comics, became the computer system that we know him from the film.
Don't we know one of?
And Jarvis actually is an acronym, much like SHIELD.
What's an acronym for?
It stands for Just a Rather Very Intelligent System.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean,
how sexual.
I reckon Tony was drunk when he came up with that. He's like, oh, we got Jarvis. He's a real bloke, but let's turn him into an acronym because fuck it. Well, what? Just a very intelligent
if you read the comics, you can just assume that Tony was drunk.
Yeah.
On anything.
Or Robert Downey Jr.
Technically, if he were drunk and flying in that suit, could he be done for flying?
We can talk about that in the next Iron Man film because there's actually a lot of that. So the guy who did the voice of Jarvis, Paul Bettany, also Vision. Weird, actually.
Fuck off, really?
He's the same guy.
He was Vision.
Oh, you're a twat.
No.
Fuck off.
Get out of here.
Seriously, when they were asked him to do the bit, he did it as a favour to the director. He didn't even know what film it was going to be for. All he knew is it was 2 hours
That takes
work.
some commitment.
It was 2 hours work because it was just voiceover.
Yeah.
And he got paid fuck tons for it. So he was like, yeah, fuck it, I'll do it.
I mean, to be fair, if he got paid fuck tons for 2 hours work, I'd do it.
You know what's weird is that I'm saying this in not a gay way, but he's not a bad looking fella. Imagine if they'd gotten a big, podgy, deformed looking fella to do the voice for Jarvis. And then later on, they're like, okay, so Vision's coming into it. No, we might have to recast you. So it's convenient, really.
Well, have you seen Darth Vader?
That's well, you know what? One day when we get onto Star Wars, I've got so many questions about the choice of accents, like what. But for basically between Jarvis and Vision, he sounds exactly the same.
He is. He's the exact same person.
But he's not Jarvis, Vision.
Yeah, but he's the exact same actor.
That's what I mean.
And he has the exact same speech mannerisms.
He's got a face for radio and movies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh. Voice for radio, face for movies, in colour of red.
Was there anything that comes to mind that you
about Jarvis?
No, just about the film in general.
In regards to what? Like what?
Well, there's a couple of things I want to touch on, but I feel like I'm bringing up.
Oh, feel free to touch all you want.
In the comics, the Obadiah guy, he actually had his own company. He didn't work for Stark Industries. He was like a rival company. He was basically what the Chum Bucket is to Krusty Krab. he was the plankton.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You got that reference.
I got it.
I'm talking about SpongeBob SquarePants for people who have lives.
I mean, to be fair, if our listeners didn't know what SpongeBob SquarePants was, I'd recommend just to stop listening and just go and watch it.
You know, I noticed that there was a couple of actors in it that we thought.
I know, there was a couple of actors, like loads, at least.
Is this your shtick now? This is just you
taking the piss
out of me.
Oh, stupid things you say. Yeah.
This isn't stupid. I didn't finish my sentence.
Okay, I'll let you finish.
Okay, so there's a couple of actors in it who you thought were shit. Like, just performances in general. Some that I thought were shit. Some that didn't get recast. So I think that I win the shittest actor opinion award.
Yeah, but your opinion is just awful.
There we go.
Okay, so why didn't you give me your opinion on who was the worst actor ever? No one was bad in that film. I didn't have an opinion on who was bad.
Okay, so the guy who played as Rhodey, War Machine. He's not War Machine in this film, but the
Terrence Howard.
The Colonel, yeah, Terrence Howard. I thought he was fucking awful.
Why do you think he was?
He was so one note. He just had no range.
He was so much better than Don Cheadle.
Don Cheadle. Right, so they recast a guy who plays as War Machine. There's one sort of in joke right near the end of the film where he's in Tony Stark's garage as Tony Stark's getting in the Iron Man suit, and there's the Mark II suit, the plain silver one that he did the original test in, and he sort of looks at it, and it kind of looks like the War Machine suit, but not really. It's just like a silver Iron Man suit.
It's the old Iron Man suit.
Yeah, and he goes, next time, baby. Like, next time I'm going to get in the suit and be War Machine. No, you're not. You didn't get recast. You fucking, I felt bad for him in a way.
No. Do you know why he was fired?
Because he asked for too much money?
Yeah, he wanted more money than Tony.
You mean Robert Downey Jr.?
Less at this point.
He's the same bloke.
It's interchangeable, essentially.
And I was curious about this a few years ago. I was looking it up, and he did a bit of bitching And he was basically just like, oh, I was the one who told you about Robert Downey Jr. If it wasn't for me, Iron Man wouldn't exist, and that sort of thing. And that sort of thing kind of like drags it down, because it's like, not only is he a shite actor, I don't know if I haven't seen him in anything else, but I just think in Iron Man...
I mean, you can't really then just say he's a shit if you've not seen him in anything else.
Nah, that's true. But like, I just...
He's apparently very good in, what's that TV show that's on E4?
I don't know.
Empire.
Strikes Back.
Yeah.
That's it. No, but there's one who you think's bad, Agent Coulson.
Oh, he is so shit.
Why do you think he's shit?
Because he is actually a man. He's just there like, I work for some strategic, imperative, financial, constitutional rights management team. Oh, you're
Shield.
right. It is called Shield.
Yeah, no, actually, Shield. I got this up here. Shield stands for, in the MCU, it stands for the Strategic Homeland Intervention Enforcement and Logistics Division. Right.
I think what it is he's all right. I mean, he's just playing an agent.
He actually, in the original plan, he didn't have a name. He was just called Agent. And then when he got a few more lines, they thought, oh, we'll flesh him out, give him an actual name.
I mean, it's not really fleshing him out that much to just give him a name.
Well, I mean, you say that, but he came back. He came back. He was in Thor.
Yep.
He was in Avengers.
Yep.
And I think he hasn't been in any MCU since. I think
he died in quotation marks again.
Died, but then he was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is a TV show which is canon within the MCU.
I mean, I don't watch it. So's the Netflix Marvel things are brilliant.
What, like Iron Fist and Daredevil and stuff?
Not Iron Fist, but Daredevil. And
is that
Punisher.
canon in the MCU?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So where the hell are they when Sokovia is falling out of the sky? Where the hell are they when Thanos is destroying the universe?
Well, where's Ant-Man?
Where's Ant-Man? Well, we've got our own theories about that, whether we think that Ant-Man 2 happens parallel to Infinity War.
I think it happens...
So, like, at the end of it, it sort of... One of them's going to disappear at the end of Ant-Man 2.
I reckon one of them's going to disappear.
I reckon it's going to be Ant-Man. Because the Wasp is a prominent member of the Avengers in the comics, but not Ant-Man.
Yeah, so I reckon he's going to disappear. But Paul Rudd, love Paul Rudd. So they'll probably bring him back.
Yeah, I love Paul Rudd. No, they will bring him back. I reckon they'll bring everyone back.
Well, not everyone.
But yeah, no, you didn't think he was any good.
I just think anyone could have played his role, really. Let's be honest. He didn't really bring anything to it.
But there's kind of like I love bringing these contradictions up, really. But they're just like he keeps saying that what the acronym stands for constantly, and there's a running gag in the film where they're saying, oh, you need to come up with a new name for that, and in the end he goes, oh, just call us Shield. But as the series goes on, obviously they didn't know that initially. There was going to be a whole backstory where Stark and Peggy Carter, who's in Captain America, the first movie, they started S.H.I.E.L.D. and it was called S.H.I.E.L.D. So it doesn't make sense really in the timeline that he would go from calling it S.H.I.E.L.D. to the really long name.
And then back to S.H.I.E.L.D. again. Again, that's the TV show and the actual film. I don't think Marvel pay too much attention to what the TV shows are doing. I think their main focus, main pull of money is on the films.
One thing that that always came to mind when I first saw the Iron Man film, and like a few years later, before all the other MCU movies came out, I thought there wasn't that much Iron Man in the film, right? But then you think the same thing about Iron Man 3 and whatnot. But in the first one, I remember specifically thinking that about that movie.
Why, it takes ages for him to actually show up.
Yeah, it doesn't get the full red and gold suit until about halfway through the film.
Yeah, well, to be fair, I mean, it's not a very long film. It's about an hour and a half. Give or take.
Is it?
I don't think it's that long.
Maybe like an hour and a half.
What do you think about the things that happen? He gets caught.
Yeah.
Then he builds the Tin Man suit, which Mark 1 of Mark's whatever.
Yeah. Spends the next half hour making the proper suit.
Somehow.
Yeah.
And then, even though the technology doesn't exist, but he can build it in a...
Oh, wait.
I love that bit.
Yeah. Even though the technology doesn't exist. Yeah. Tony Stark built this in a cave with a box of scraps. I fucking love that line.
So he builds that, and then he pretty much gets back home, eats an American cheeseburger. That's all he wants after getting back from being held captive for 3 months from terrorists. Pretty much, and then
they could have ruined that by saying, "I want a McDonald's double Whopper."
Well, what the funny thing was, it was a Burger King he went to.
Was it? Was it actually product placement? I didn't.
Yeah, it was a Burger King bag.
I didn't know.
I always noticed that, but yeah. So Gets back, and he almost instantly starts building it up a bit. And then you jump straight into him going back into wherever it was he was caught, blows up all the stuff.
Yeah. Well, one of my questions was, it was like, did he build the suit because he wanted a pet project? Or was there a reason why he built it? I mean, obviously he made the first suit to escape.
Essentially, had he not built the suit, the film would have ended about half an hour.
so it's a plot device.
It was like the most MacGuffin of plot devices. We wouldn't have got Iron Man 2 or 3.
It would have just been a very short, sad film about a guy who...
It would have ended with him going, I am Tony.
It would have done, wouldn't it?
It would have done, yeah.
I was a captive.
No, I think it was a case of he built the suit in wherever he was.
In the cave with the box of scraps.
In a cave in a box of scraps. And, I mean, knowing what Tony Stark's character would be like, he built this suit with very limited resources. I think he'd want to know what he could do with unlimited resources.
Right, yeah.
So he built the suit, and then he kind of thought to himself, I can maybe, take out all the weapons, because he wanted to get rid of the weapons. And then he watched the news report, and he was like, fucking hell, I'm going to destroy all those weapons.
Yeah, because at the beginning of the film, he seemed quite nihilistic, because there was actually a confrontation with a reporter who he ends up shagging like 5 minutes later, who's like, well, how do you feel about all the death? And he basically, in more smarter words than I can muster, basically said, well, what the fuck else are we going to do? My dad started Stark Industries. If I can do what I can to protect the world,
yeah,
I can do what the fuck I want. And then he realises that, well, what happens if his shit gets into the wrong hands?
The best thing about that is, so he comes up with the epiphany that, he is in the wrong.
Yeah.
He's making weapons. He needs to stop making weapons. And then he makes Ultron.
Well, but he did that with good intentions.
Yeah, but
he did that with the same intentions that he made the first Iron Man suit, because he wanted to. Well, okay, so Ultron is just the next step in just Iron Man technology, but he originally made the Mark III or whatever it is, the gold and red Iron Man suit, because it's like, right, I made all these missiles when I was a ironmonger, as Obadiah said, that got taken by all these terrorists. So I'm going to go and take my shit back. So I'm going to build a big old fucking suit.
Just a big old suit.
And kick the shit out of all these people in Middle Eastern countries. So, yeah, he went over. The big white rich man went to the Middle East and killed a bunch of brown people. And that is a Disney film, ladies and gentlemen.
The very best. But like I said before, Disney aren't actually like all roses. I don't know why people think that because it's a Disney film, it's gonna have like a load of like cherries and flowers and sunshine. Pretty much every Disney film has some horrific,
look what they did to Star Wars.
Destroying moment.
Look what they did to Star Wars.
Let's not talk about that right now, shall we? We could spend an entire hour on that.
There was something you mentioned earlier about Obadiah's ironmonger suit. I was confused at first because basically the 10 Rings found remnants of the first suit that Tony Stark built. And then he based his own suit off of that. So it was a completely different suit. It was a lot bigger. It looked very Hulkbuster-esque.
But he managed to basically build one. What he needed, essentially, was the arc reactor. Yeah. Which is why he stole it with the Sonic.
The Sonic taser. The thing.
Which you think, that is more powerful than the Iron Man
That's
suit.
A pretty handy device. I mean, again, another weapon in the MCU that never gets used again.
I know, you think. You got a Mandarin there in the third film. Just taser him.
Yeah, just taser him.
You got Loki when Iron Man, when Tony's having that sort of face off with Loki, you could just be like, I'm just gonna paralyze you.
Just gonna use that and
take his scepter from you as well.
But no, never use it again. No. Come up with a great concept. Although then again, they kind of allude to them not using it for moral reasons. I mean, Obadiah even says, the board never approved of this.
Yeah, but I'm sure the board wouldn't approve of missile tank man.
Yeah.
Like, at this point, he's going rogue.
Yeah.
And anything to... I mean, he went to wherever it was and blew up a tank with people in it. Like, he killed people. He legitimately killed people.
Well, he killed people that were killing innocent people.
Yeah, I know. But, I mean, at that point, he doesn't need to answer to boards. It's his device. I think Batman answered to the board when he dresses up as Batman.
Well, we'll talk about this when we get to Captain America Civil War, because that's basically what this all leads into. But your question was... What the fuck was his plan? Like, after he built the suit?
Yeah, that was weird. So, he wanted to... Okay, I got it. He wanted Tony Stark out of the way so he could run the company. That's fine. But
this is Obadiah we're talking about.
This is Obadiah. When it failed, he decided to build his own Iron Man suit in the city. And then he thought, right, this is a brilliant idea. I'm going to go and kill Tony Stark.
But not only Tony Stark.
Pepper Potts as well.
Yeah, and cause havoc in the middle of the fucking street.
You know, I'm going to destroy cars. I'm going to pick up people. I'm going to say it's collateral damage. You know, I'm not going to care that, you know, the law's about.
Yeah.
And like,
how was he going to get away with it?
What was he expecting to happen? Is he like, right, so finally I've killed Tony Stark. I own the company. What do you mean I've been fired?
What do you mean I've been arrested?
Shit. I didn't really think this one through.
Yeah. What was?
Oh God, what have I done?
I think he like
my assets have been frozen.
like Pepper Potts said, he went crazy. He just kind of went a bit mental after he got the suit and realised how strong he was.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, it wasn't going to... I mean, the Iron Man suit is good, but it's not going to go up against the military. It would if it was with Tony Stark in the helm, because he's worked all the kinks out.
Yeah.
That suit would have had a finite resource at that point. The military would have been able to stop him. The police would have arrested him. Would have been fine. So his plan was to kill Tony Stark, the most famous man on the planet, Pepper Potts, a load of other people, out in the city, destroying civilians and cars and everything like that, and he didn't really think that there would have been any repercussions to it. That's just stupid of it.
But it did occur in California rather than New York, which is where most of these... You know, that was a on-purpose choice.
Well, they'd be saying California.
Yeah, because all the superhero films that come out before that had all taken, like all the Spider-Man films and Fantastic Four and everything, it was always in New York. So they wanted like a change of location, even though in the comics it was New York. But they later moved the Stark Tower to central New York, didn't they, anyway?
Yeah, so...
But technically it was in Malibu, so it was a nice... I mean, to be honest, I didn't know that, really. I don't really know America geographic, so I didn't even know that until I was researching.
I mean, to be fair, if Tony Stark actually did exist, he would live in Malibu. He would have a Malibu house.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at the house that he's got. It's fucking... beautiful. Is that a real house, or is that just like... Was that a set piece?
I think it's a set piece. I could be completely wrong. I have no idea. But it looks like it'd be a set piece.
It's just another thing that makes you think, this was a self-financed film. How in God's name? Like, it's dead weird. I mean, there's nothing really else to cover, is there? I suppose we could call that an episode.
Yeah.
So that was a good first episode.
Oh, I hope it's a good first episode.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments if you enjoyed, if there's any other films that you reckon we should talk about, any TV shows, even video games that are push.
Tabletop games. I like play Dungeons and Dragons.
You want to talk about a board game as well?
Yeah.
Do a whole episode on Mousetrap.
I could do a whole episode on Mousetrap. You don't want me to do a whole episode on Mousetrap.
You know what's funny is that I believe you.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching, and have a nice day, and don't build an Iron Man suit and murder a bunch of people, everyone, okay?
Or drink drive.
Or that too, it's probably just as bad, if not worse.